The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening. This is Roy Ryer from SEO Training SW.com, and our topic this evening during tonight's webinar is going to be how to solve problems in Google Places. Along with myself, we have Jeanette Degner, who's up in Las Vegas, who will be helping out tonight. Also, Steve, he's our programmer and our go-to guy whenever we have some problems in Google Places and things like that. So we might have him jump on the call, and also David Evans. He'll be joining us out in where is he? He's in Indianapolis. So anyway, what we're going to be discussing in today's webinar, we'll be discussing how you can solve some of the common problems that may encounter with Google Places, Google Plus, and Google Maps. But before we get started, just a few things I'd like to address with you. Number one, we those of you that never been part of any of our webinars before, those of you that might be on this call for the first time, or might be watching a replay of this video, perhaps on YouTube, we have a bunch of other free SEO training things for you, videos. Uh, we have our premium content, which is our basic and a lot of intermediate SEO. And that's all free for you. The only thing we ask from you is to sign up on our website. You'll see that little box on the right. I just put in, your name, your email address, your password, and don't worry, we're never going to spam you. I hate spam as much as you do, guys. So, don't worry about that. What we'll do is once a week we'll send you a little broadcast or a little email, with some of the things that are going on in SEO, some SEO tips, and also kind of keep you up to date on some of the new webinars and some of the new training we have coming down. While we're speaking about new webinars, next week I'd like to invite you to another free webinar we're going to have a week from today, and David Evans is going to be presenting that, and that's how to find buying keywords in your niche. David's really an expert on how to do keyword research. He's those of you that been through our training, David just rocks. He uses some really unconventional ideas, to say it mildly, on how to come up with keywords using the Google's keyword tool and some other tools. So this is going to be a free webinar. It's going to be a week from today. Those of you like to sign up for that, there's a URL, a Bud URL right down there on the bottom of this screen, budurl.com/key niche. And then again, those of you that might be watching this later on, because we do tape our webinars and we do put those on the website. However, those of you that are watching the videos don't always have an opportunity to interact with us, but you can watch the replays later on. Now, those of you, again, that are on this webinar, might be watching the replay, I only have one request from you. And that request is please share the love. On our website, we have our buttons off on the left-hand side where you can tweet about our webinars or training. You can put this on your Google Plus page. You can Facebook like us. This is the only thing we're asking from you. And those of you that have a moment before we begin the webinar, right there on the bottom of this particular screen, we have the Bud URL to tonight's presentation. So if you just take a moment before we begin and go to that URL and give us that Facebook like, tell your friends, hey, we still have a few seats left. Maybe invite them to take part in tonight's webinar. We do have quite a few people. I'm just amazed at the number of people that signed up for this webinar. We use GoToWebinar, and we are allowed to have 1,000 people registering, and I mean we almost filled that right up. So that's really, really cool, and thank you for registering. But again, all we ask you to do is share the love and tell your friends and family about some of the things we do. So let's get this party started this evening. What we're going to be talking about again is Google Places, how to fix problems you might have in Google Places, how to fix problems you might have in Google Maps and Google Plus. Now, let's before we get started, kind of review some of the common problems that are reported with Google Plus, Google Places. The number one problem is the listing has just got completely out of control. The listing's gone. It just disappeared. You type in the name of your business one day, and for some reason it's not there anymore. Next is reviews. You have bad reviews, or you're having reviews that are missing, uh, or you have reviews that have nothing even to do with your business. So that's the second most reported problem in Google Places. Another is incorrect and missing information. Google Plus and Google Places are merging their data, and because of this merge, there's sometimes some incorrect or missing information. You might even be recategorized. A good example is a auto shop uh, we have of us as a client. We have an auto repair shop that's a client of ours, and their listing got put into something like landscape rock. All right, so you couldn't find their business unless you were looking for landscape rock, which really was didn't do this guy any good because he had a business fixing cars. So that's kind of an example of some of the things we've seen here lately. Also, there's a lot of frustration that a lot of you have that just like you have a problem with your Google Places listing. Who do you contact? You have questions. Who do you call? So that's like the fourth biggest problem people, complain about that have a Google Places listing. And we're going to solve that for you tonight. There's also verification problems. And then, again, with the merging of Google Places and Google Maps and Google Plus, there's problems in merging this data. And then again, we have the problem with Google Plus Local, Google's new social media program, or such incorrect word to say program, but they're Google's new social media. Now, during the course of this webinar, we do kind of have quite a few people on tonight or calling in. But if you have a particular question, please take the time and type that in to the question box. I already see we have a bunch of questions come in. We'll try to get answer most of those. So if you have any question during this webinar, please type them into the question box and we'll do our darndest to answer that. Now, that last screen I showed you on the common problems didn't come from me. It came from Mary Bowling of Optimized, who is involved in Google Places Help Forum. And she compiled the previous chart from basically problems that were reported with Google Places onto Google's Help Forum. And again, the most common problem discussed on the Google Help Forum are Google Place listings have just disappeared. Or perhaps the business owner had control of that listing, but all of a sudden he doesn't. Somebody else has it. This is again followed closely by reports of incorrect or missing information. So, why are all these problems happening? So, this is what we'll discuss first. And really, Google's making some huge changes right now of merging Google Places into a social environment. And because of this, a lot of things have changed. The review system has changed from, remember, you could put gold stars. You could give a business 5 gold stars. And that's gone away. And there's been new filters. And there's lots of stepped up enforcement by human reviewers. And we'll actually talk about how you could become involved in some of this reviewing process, if you call it, and it help you raise your clout. So these are the problems why they're happening right now. Google Plus is again merging with local, and Google's bought Zagat, which was a review website for restaurants, and they're integrating a lot of that technology, a lot of that algorithm per se, into their regular Google Places and Google Plus algorithm. And there's now a whole bunch of review and reviewer filters that have just recently been implemented. Okay, it used to be real easy to spam Google Places. If you would have been on a webinar perhaps about 4 or 5 years ago and you wanted to get the #1 ranking in Google, we just basically tell you, hey, get closest the centroid location as you can with your business. Find out what the centroid was. And people found out about that and they started spamming Google about that, putting in fake reviews, fake businesses. And now Google has really cracked down on that. In fact, if Google finds out that you're trying to spam them or trick them, your account will actually be banned forever. So be really careful now. Some of these old tricks that you might have used in the past, because I'll tell you guys that if you got your Google account banned for places forever, that is a problem. And again, ramped up with the enforcement guidelines. And there's some businesses that are no longer allowed in Google Places. And Google's forcing Google Plus and Local to merge. And because of this merging, a lot of business must re-verify. So if you had a verified business in Google Plus, let's say a year ago, and now it's been merged, some businesses are going to be required to re-verify in particular niches, or maybe there's something in your profile that just raises a red flag. And human review is required for much, much, much more stuff. There's actually going to be somebody behind the scenes, either be from Google or some volunteers, are going to be reviewing the content that are on your Google Places page, your Google Maps page. And if there's a problem there, they can take some action against that. Now, in order to become successful today in local, you need to start thinking like Google. Google owns the listing, not you, not the business. It's Google's listing. All right. So just hey, this date, Google threw out my listing from Google. It wasn't your listing in the first place, it was Google's. And because there was something wrong with the listing or something happened that Google just said, we're just going to take this listing out. It belongs to us. It's happening. Now, your input as the verified business owner or your input as the SEO consultant is just one set of data that goes into the cluster of information that Google has about your business. Now, Google trusts a lot other things more so than you. Multiple sources of information. Google has its tentacles into everything. Google has its tentacles into the Secretary of State's office, so it can see if you have an actual business license. It has its tentacles into, let's say you have your business in Phoenix, Arizona. It has its tentacles to see if you have a business license there. It has its tentacles in with the phone company to see if you have a valid phone number. So this is the data that Google will trust more than all the data that you will be providing. Okay. Now, before we go into the next slide, this is really, really critically important. It's critical to have consistent data across the entire web. And I'm even going to take that one step further. It's critical to have consistent data both online and offline, because a lot of times your offline content does have a habit of going online. All right. As an example, an ad you might write in the newspaper, a print ad for your business that has your address, your suite number, your phone number might not jive with what you have on your website. And because of that, during the verification process by a human reviewer, they're going to see this discrepancy. So please, before we move any forward with this, I need you guys to understand that it's extremely critical to have all your content of your business, such as your business address, your suite number, where the commas are located, the telephone numbers, the zip codes, anything that has to do anything with your business, your website address, your email address has to be consistent throughout. Now, let's talk about some of Google's guidelines. Not all of Google's guidelines are published. Google's guidelines are intended to be vague. And Google changes their guidelines frequently. And they often don't communicate these changes to us, the user. In fact, if you do a lot of search for Google Plus or Google Places information, you're going to even find a lot of that information outdated. So why does Google do this? Well, Google does not publish all their guidelines uh, that they publish to avoid having people like us beat out their system. If Google published everything on how to be successful with your local business on Google, everybody would be doing that, right? So they want to be vague. So we have to figure that out so we can beat out their system. Now, excuse me, I'm sorry I coughed. Let me take a quick drink here. I have to be honest with you guys. I have NyQuil sitting here next to me, and I have some aspirin and some chicken soup. I have a little bit of cold, so let me grab a real quick glass of water. Now, this same sort of reasoning applies in that they don't communicate these changes to us. Google Plus, Google Plus, Google Places, even the Google organic algorithm, they're going to have changes and they're not going to tell you what they changed or that they even had a change. You're going to have to figure this out, or we're going to have to figure this out. As an example, out of date information that once you verify your listing that you will go live within 24 hours, this is not true anymore. And they still have this statement on some of their pages. Excuse me. Now, Giselle's on this call today, and this was a question Giselle posted on her Facebook page, and isn't Google Maps and Google Places and Google Plus kind of all the same thing? Well, not really. You need basically, and a lot of people think Google Places is a business directory, which is not. Google Places is part of a map overlay that goes on top of Google Maps that shows what exists in the physical world. So start thinking of Google Places as just that, an overlay that goes on top of Google Maps. Now, Google Places does not yet update in real time into Maps. The data is periodically synced with Maps data. This could take, a couple days, it could take a few weeks, it could take months. Now, Places today requires verification, and Maps requires review and approval by somebody human. And because of this, Places data and Maps data typically don't match up that well. I'll give you an example where I'm going to be talking about how you can become involved in helping Google update its maps. And right now, I'm signed up for doing just this for the Wickenburg area and the Surprise, Arizona area. And I'm just surprised that, this business is located entirely on the other side of town or in the wrong place, or they got the wrong names of the park. It's not as bad as what Apple's been through. All right. They don't have cities or the Eiffel Tower in the bottom of the ocean. But there is incorrect data there. And also, conventions and guidelines can differ as far as address formatting and categories within Google Places and Google Maps. Now, those of you that have a problem with your Google Places listing, this is the number one fix. The first thing you should try if you have a problem is log into Google Places dashboard and poke it. Click on the edit button for the listing. Don't make any changes whatsoever. Just click on submit, and this is going to ping Google. Why does this work? Well, it indicates that you're actively managing the listing and your content is fresh. And sometimes this fixes problems. Wait about 3 or 4 days to see if this works. Now, even if your Google Places listing does not have a problem, or those of you that do SEO for clients, it is very important that you also do this. Don't wait for problems to happen. Again, this is an indicator to Google that you're actively managing this listing, that this content on this particular business is fresh. And Google, if one thing Google loves, it's fresh content. So if you have a number 3, number 4, number 5 listing in Google Places, if you do this once a month, you might see some increase in your ranking. The second thing you should do after 3, 4 days or a week goes by is to make an edit or report the problem from your Google Plus page, not your Google Places page. So just go to the Google Plus page, and there'll be a little link off on the right to edit or report a problem. And just click on that and report the problem to them. And then after, if you go into editing your Google Places, remember just to hit the done editing button. Now, this is something, guys, that is critically important. And to be very honest with you, I did not learn about this until PubCon. You need to become a Google Map Maker. And basically, what Google Map Maker is a map making community where anyone can contribute edits to Google's maps. And you see here, this is my account. What I typed in here in my Google Map Maker account was restaurants near Wickenburg, Arizona. I live outside of Wickenburg, and I went through. I fixed some of the information. I had added a description to Screamers Drive-In. I went to Country Kitchen, and I added the hours of operation because they did not have that. I went to Charlie's Steakhouse. They didn't have, they only had that they accepted cash. So I put that in there. They also accept credit cards. And I went through, and this is the first day I did this. I made 8 edits. The following week I came back and I made some more edits. And you're going to make edits. Now they're not going to actually go live until your reviewer goes in and checks on those. All right. And you're going to basically build your clout. And those, I would, guys, please don't go in and start editing your business or any of your clients' business to start off on this. All right. Because you first want to build up clout. Go to the, community area, like it might be a park that's got a wrong name. The park might be out of location. Go to your restaurants, go to other things, and start building your clout. The more you contribute, the more clout you get. And your edits move up in the queue for faster approval. There's more clout you get. And guys, if you have edits that are not approved, your clout starts diminishing. So here's a link. I want like everybody to write this link down and really, really recommend that you sign up, if not tonight, tomorrow, to become a Google Map Maker. It's google.com/mapmaker. Real easy URL. It's very simple to do this. This is what the interface looks like. Learn to use this correctly, guys, because if you make any screw ups, you're going to be published. So go spend the time, and on the left-hand side, there's a Learn More area. So you're going to, read the articles on how to create a line around a business, how to create directions to a business, what the neighborhoods are. They have some advanced tutorials. And once you understand that, then you can actually go in and fix a problem. Again, remember, if you screw up, your clout gets diminished. You're not going to be as powerful. Now, after you do this for about a month, I've been going in once a week to do this. About the 5th week, I went in and I went to the auto repair shop that I mentioned earlier, and I made an edit. And it took about 4 days for the editor to come back and realize, oh, yeah, we can see this is an auto repair shop. It is not a landscape company that sells landscape rock. Makes sense. And they approved my edit. Now there's no problem. Okay. Now, again, when you're making edits, this is something I did not mention, something that's really important. I think it's in the next slide. Okay, here it is. Your goal in becoming a Google Map Maker is to earn trust with accurate edits of places that you know very, very well. So think of the community you live in. Think of where you go to dinner, where you eat, movie theaters you go to, and provide, like this auto repair shop. I put the URL of the business in the edit. I say, here's the URL of the business. And, this is not a landscape company. And they could they, of course, went to the URL. Oh, yeah, this is an auto repair shop. Makes sense. And they approved my edit. Now, as you grow with this, you could team up with others to review and approve each other's edits. Okay. So I've been doing this now for, close to a couple months. Um, I could technically at some point become your reviewer and approve your edits. Now, of course, if I do something that Google disapproves of, I'm going to lose my clout. So I'm not going to do anything that's black hat or gray hat. But just think of that. You could, create a little team. Now, anybody that is on this call that works with an SEO agency, uh, you know, there are many SEO agencies that we do consulting with now that have basically hired somebody full time to be a Google map maker. That's their full time job. That's all they do, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, is to go in and edit Google Maps. And because of that, they just think of all the clout this SEO agency has now. So they have a client that comes to them, their listing's all screwed up. Hey, just give it to Joe, the Google map maker. He'll fix it. And then a snap of a finger, it's finished. It's literally that quick. So, guys, I cannot emphasize this enough. Please do this if you're involved with Google Maps, if you have your own business listing. Just don't start off on doing your own. Start doing some other stuff and be, part of the community, I guess you say. Now, they also have a form. They have a Google Map Maker form. Sounds like rubber baby, whatever it is. I'm sorry, it's a tongue twister. They have a Map Maker form, and go in and introduce yourself. All right, this is a little screenshot of some other people that are. This is something new. You can see right here what other people are matching. In Arizona, when I signed up and joined the form, there were only 2 people in Arizona. Okay, there was one in Albuquerque, Al can't pronounce the name. One's in Carlsbad, one in Albuquerque, 4 people in San Diego. I'm sure this has increased back quite a bit, but again, this is something new. And get in there and introduce yourself. Hey, my name is Roy. I'm out here in Arizona. If you guys have any problems with any businesses, in Arizona, please let me know. Blah 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 blah. So this is how you're going to again find people. Let's say if you do SEO, you have an agency here in Phoenix, and you have a client that might be in San Diego. Well, it'd be kind of out of place for you to go in and fix that San Diego client. But here, by becoming part of the forum, you can find somebody that might be in that San Diego area, send them a private message and say, I'm up here in Arizona. Can you help me out? Got a business down there in San Diego. They're an auto repair shop. They're being classified as a landscape company. Can you go in and make the edit? And by the way, if you ever have any problems in Phoenix, let me know. I'll fix those for you. All right. Other tips, post a web maker form for help with reviews or other approval. Look for posts by other Google employees or other posts by official map guides. Now they have official employees from Google on that forum. They also have volunteers that get uh, promoted to official map guides, and this is how you can tell when you log into the forum. This is Sheena. She has that little Google logo right there. You can see that. You can see she's a Google employee. Okay. So if you have something that is really a problem, here's a way you can reach out to her. Now, this only has to deal with the maps, but here you go. Here's where you can contact somebody. Say, hey, whatever problem you have. Now, let's talk about the merged listing problem. Now, during the process of Google Plus and Google Places merging, there's a lot of misinformation. Now, if you see that this is a problem because of this merge, do not use MapMaker first. Use Google's Troubleshooter to report these merge problems. And this problem could take as long as 3 to 4 weeks to fix it. Be patient. Any other stuff, on your Google Places page could actually slow down the fix, or going into your Google Plus page could actually slow it down. This is something you need to be patient with. So take about 3 or 4 weeks. All right, use Troubleshooter. And here's the form right here. Here's the link on the bottom. I'll show you a little screenshot of what the form looks like. But if Google's showing incorrect information on your listing or of a client, the name of the company might be incorrect, the address might be incorrect, the phone number, the URL, categories, whatever. All right. And if this is just because of the merge, you go to Google, Plus or Google Places, and this got everything messed up. This is what you need to do. So I'll leave the screen on here a little bit so you can. I know it's a long one. I don't think I can cut and paste that. No, I can't. But we'll have a replay of this video. If you have any comments, just shoot me an email at the end of this, and I'll have that link for you. But this is what the form looks like. Another way you can find this is search places for business help. So here's a quick way. This is how I found it. So just go to Google and type in search places for business help. And this is going to be the result you're going to get. This is the form you're going to be filling out. What is the official email address to manage this listing? What is the URL? What is screwed up with this business listing? Is the business title, address. Put a little check in there. And then you hit to continue, and there's going to be the comment area to change this. All right, let's go to the next slide. I've got a lot of great questions, guys. I see a ton of questions. And again, if you have any question during this, please type it in. Again, I'm going to mention this again. If you're really liking this webinar, please, 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 the only thing I ask is give us a Facebook like, tweet about us, do something, and enjoy it. We put a lot of effort into doing this, as you see, and the only payment we ask is to like us, okay? Google verification problems. This is another big problem with Google Places. Sometimes after verifying your listing with your PIN number, you might see this. We currently do not support this location. All right. I mean, people just freak out. Here's the PIN number. I just added it in there, and I get this message. We currently do not support this location. Don't panic. Put it in there. After you do that, go and poke your listing. Again, log into your listing. If you need to change anything, fine. If not, just hit the submit like you did change something and wait a few days. That should take care of that problem. If this does not work, you can report the problem here. Again, another long URL. We'll have these all posted up on the website. We'll have a replay of this video. If you guys could take a screenshot of this, please do. I just wish I could copy and paste this right into the screen here. I can't. But it's support.google.com places, blah, 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 blah. There you go. Real long, but that's where you can report the problem. Now, there's also a problem with moved locations. Let's say, businesses move. They move to the other side of town. They move across the street. They move down a couple suites. The safest way to do this is to mark your old location closed and then create and verify a new one. Right? If you do want to change the address, do not claim the listing and change the address at the same time. In other words, don't go claim the listing, and while you're claiming the listing, go change the address. All right? If you already own the listing, go ahead and change the address. But if you don't change that address right then. Do not change anything until the new address is live. Change your website address, your name, phone number first. Don't, first things. And then you could change your primary data providers ASAP. And then chances are when you do this, you might have two listings. If you have two listings, fine. Just remember to go back and delete the old one. This is a big problem that's going in, with people moving right now because of the human verification process. Now, this is happening a lot now, where you're typing in your business or you're typing in a keyword into Google, and all of a sudden, why am I getting, you type in, let's use my auto repair site, all right? You type in auto repair, and all of a sudden you're getting a listing for a landscape company. Well, these terms are coming from reviews that somebody might have left you. So let's say you have an auto body shop and you're showing up for landscape rock. It might be that somebody, it wasn't the case of mine, but it might be the case that a reviewer said, hey, I own a landscape company and I got my landscape truck fixed, and because I have to deliver landscape rock all day long, and they did a great job and my truck was fixed. That review could give you some bad glance terms. Now, it might not be on the Google Places review or your Google Plus review. It might be a review somebody left you on Yelp. It might be a review someplace else, and Google's just bringing that in. Now, this is the weird part of it, guys. No one, not even Google, can change this because this would be a change to their algorithm. So, if this is happening with you in Google, the first thing you need to do is check some of your third party sites. So the easiest way to do this is search for your phrase, your business name to find them. So, landscape rock, name of your business, and there you go in Google. You then could find these and you can say, okay, Yelp has this. So you could correct that at the source. And this is how you would fix that particular problem. Now, reviews. Give me 1 second here, guys. I'm just going to, Jeanette, I just got to relieve my nose here a second. Just give me 1 second. Like I
Sure.
said, I got a cold. Hopefully, I didn't make a big crack. I know when I turn
No,
my
you're
mic,
fine.
I know when I turn my mic off and on that there's a big crinkling, but I didn't want everybody to hear me blowing my nose. I thought that'd be rather rude. But I feel a lot better now. Have a drink of water. And again, I just really have a bad cold tonight. Now, here's a review of what we discussed tonight. All right, things change. Guys, you need to stay current what's going on. All right, because if you're not going to be able to keep your listing to the top of Google, and you're not going to be able to keep your clients' listings on the top of Google. And after a while, if you're doing SEO for clients, you're going to go find somebody else that can. Now, you need to understand how Google views business listings and maps. And this is something we will review tonight with you. Again, the first thing you should do if you have a problem is poke your listing, then use the edit feature on Google Plus, and then try Troubleshooter. If you guys use the Google Help Forums, know who to listen to. All right, look for the people that have those little Google badges next to them that they work for Google. There's a lot of misinformation on there, and if you go to the wrong person, you're going to get the wrong information. Please, if you take anything away from tonight's webinar, please become a Google Map Maker and learn how to use it effectively. Please be patient. These fixes that you're going to be making, these edits, these pokes, are not going to happen immediately. Again, remember, Google Places right now is an overlay of Google Maps. It can now take 3 to 4 weeks to have any changes. Now, let's say you have a listing that's totally messed up. You spent weeks and weeks and weeks in trying to fix it. You might need to be prepared to start all over again with a new listing. Start off from scratch. We had a student actually had to go through this. He came through our SEO training workshop during our last local workshop in March. He was in a carpet cleaning company, and he was not doing anything wrong. He was not spamming Google. But what he did is he encouraged his clients to give reviews. Nothing wrong with that, right? Hey, I'm cleaning your carpet. You might give me a review on Google. Well, Google thought there was something a little strange because he had a lot more reviews than any of his competitors. And Google basically just shut down his listing. So we had to start all over again with a brand new listing. Be prepared if that happens. Now, I know we have a number of questions here, so this is going to be our question and answer period. Uh, Before I take any questions, I'm just going to pause or close my microphone. Jeanette, do you have anything you want to review with our audience before I take any questions?
Not at this time. I think we're good. The only things we have some upcoming hands-on training classes coming up in March, and just check out our website under SEO workshops to see those.
Okay, cool. Again, I really apologize, guys. I just got this terrible cold. I woke up this morning, my head was just throbbing. All right. First question we have here is from Derek. Derek asked, does it make a big difference if you have a 1234 North Main Street versus 1234? Oh, the question is 1234 North Main Street versus a 123 Main Street. My client has two Google Maps listing with this issue, and they tried to delete the wrong listing, but Google still has it for the past 3 months. Great question, Derek. I would start out. I, I'm assuming this is a real local business, and I'm assuming they have a phone there in the business, maybe with Quest or whomever. CenturyLink. I would go to the phone company, the phone book, and first see exactly how that is listed, because that is perhaps the most trusted listing that your client perhaps has in his portfolio. So if it's 123 North Main Street, keep that one. If it's without the North, keep that one. So always start out, especially if the business has a phone number in the phone book, to see exactly how they're listed and try to repeat that listing. Now, again, your listing needs to be consistent throughout the entire online and offline uh, sphere, per se. So you don't want 123 North Main Street in with CenturyLink, and then you don't want 123 Main Street with Yelp. So I would start before I would do anything with Google is to go through all these sites, call them citation sites if you will. Your phone company, your Yellow Pages, Yelp, wherever, and go through and fix that. Make sure that's all consistent. Hopefully that answers your question. Uh, Giselle has a question here. I have a client with 16 locations, all on Google Places. Does she need to create a Google Plus page for each location? Well, I'm assuming they have different addresses. So yeah, that would be something I would recommend. You're going to create, if you got 16 different places, 16 different addresses in Google Places. I would still create only one Google Plus page. However, for these businesses, but then underneath that, build those out, Giselle. So you kind of build those out under the same account, keep everything within the same account. I hope that answers, Giselle. If not, we could discuss that a little later. We just got tons and tons of questions. Thanks, man. This is really cool. If Google owns the information and the information is wrong on a local business, and for some reason they are unwilling to fix, aren't they liable for misinformation as it is in legal action that they must provide the accurate information? Well, I don't know. I'm not an attorney. Dirk, this is a question from Dirk. Google does own the listing. We can come in and do what we need to do to try to fix it. But typically, when there's some bad information, they're getting this bad information from someplace else. All right, so go again and look to see where they might be picking up this bad information. Is it from Yelp? Is it from their CenturyLink listing? Is it because their business license has incorrect information? All right. Uh, Google, again, I don't want to use the word scrape because that has the connotation of, black hat stuff. But basically, what they're doing is they're compiling, they're building up, all this information on all these businesses or a business location. And then they just do their best to try to match up all this information. Uh, so that's the bottom line. I find out why this information is getting messed up, uh, and just try to fix it at its source. This question is from Ed Smith. Hi, Roy. If we're managing accounts, do you recommend setting up a Google account for the client? What if they already have a Google Plus account or don't want one? Well, good question, Ed. Yes, you need to set them up their own Google account. There's a lot of companies. I'm not going to name them, but most national or I don't want to. Well, I'm not going to say national. That'd be a bad term to use. But there are some companies that have a tendency to hijack per se that account, and they will not give the business owner, the email address, the password to go into that account. So they're charging. I can't tell you how often this happens. I get a phone call like this once every or twice a month. I signed up for this and service. They're charging me $300 a month and blah 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 blah. And now I want to get my listing back, and they won't give it back to me because it's in their account. What do I do? Well, you got to, you're going to have a war on your hands. All right. You're going to have to reclaim that listing. You're going to have to report it to Google. So please, give that information, put it in your client's account. Yeah, your client can walk away from you if they're not happy with your service and go somewhere else, but at least you're honest, all right, in giving that. If the client doesn't already have doesn't want one, you're still going to have to create one anyway and give them that information. Hey, I know you don't want one, but this is something you need. You're paying me X amount of money a month to you're paying me X amount of money a month to optimize your listing. We're going to need this. So I created one for you. Here's your username. Here's your password. Please don't go in there and mess anything up on me. If you do, let me know. But this is the account, just in case you want to walk away. Mark Goodman, great webinar. Thank you, Mark. How much do you charge to change maps for my clients? Uh, unless they're in Wickenburg, I don't change them because I'm signed up right now for the Wickenburg area. Mark, what I would recommend you do is to sign up for your MapMaker account and concentrate on your community. And when you do have a client, let's say that's in New York, go out to the forum and find out a Google MapMaker that is in that area and ask them to do the favor for you. Uh, don't don't be public, say I'm going to pay you or anything like that. Try to create a relationship because I'm signed up. You're when you sign up to be a Google Map Maker, your community that you select is very geo specific. All right, so I'm signed up for the Wickenburg area, the Surprise area, the communities I know, because you got to create clout. So, Mark, I'm just gonna, I know you live in South Carolina. I'm not sure what town, but I wouldn't know anything about your town, anything about the restaurants, what hours they're open, what credit cards they accept. So concentrate on your town, what you're good at, build up your clout. The more clout you're going to get, other people are going to come to you to fix their client problems in your community. And in turn, you're going to go seek out other Google Map makers and communities to fix your client problems, if that makes sense. Because you're very geocentric on what problems you're able to fix. This is a question from Mike. What are some unwritten rules that will get you suspended on Google Places? Anything that has to do with spam or tricking them. And they're real clear like that. So anything that, if Google suspects that you're trying to trick them, if you're trying to hijack somebody, they're not unwritten rules. It's just, business rules. Just, do no harm is Google's, whatever the goal is for Google's to do no harm. So just think of it that way. I'm not going to do any harm when I try to edit somebody or when I put my business in here. Don't be spammy. Be honest. Things I see that are getting people banned is creating, hey, lead gen. All right. You're do lead gen. Give you a case in point. I know somebody that made very good money about 7 years ago. They created a Google listing for a plastic surgery lead gen in Beverly Hills, California. They rented a table in a flower shop. They got a cell phone, and then they contacted the plastic surgeons and around, say, hey, we'll get you clients, and you can buy the clients from us. It was not a real plastic surgeon company. It was just a lead gen. So that's something that Google finds out will ban your account forever if you try to trick them that way. Question from Todd: if you manage multiple Google Places listings, say for clients, do you recommend administering under one Google Places account or having separate accounts for each business? I would again, repeat what I said earlier. I would have one account for each business. I've seen this happen. You let's say you have your Google account banned for some reason, and you have now 25, 30 clients under that account. How are you going to stay in business next month? Because you can't go in and edit them. This way, if you have separate accounts for all your 30 businesses, if you have one account banned, you still could go back in and do the work you need. Giselle, you didn't answer my client with 16 locations all on Google Places. Does he need to create a separate Google Plus page for each location? Yes, I thought I did that. Yes, I would create a separate Google Plus account for that business, but then go into there and add the multiple locations, if that makes sense. Okay, so it'll still be under one Google Plus account. Your business has multiple locations, but remember these. Again, all things about Google is to be social. If you're going to go out, you're going to need to go out and be active on all these 16 locations, Giselle. If you're not, or if your client's not, it just might not be, beneficial. Create one going back to the website. Uh, that's maybe something you might want to do. If you're McDonald's doesn't do that. To be totally honest with you, they have their one major Google Plus account because they're not expecting their managers to go in and do Google Pluses and things. They have better things to do. Supervise their employees, make sure the hamburgers are all flipped. So they have their one Google Plus page for all their businesses. But if you have 16 locations that are all committed to doing something and be active, by all means do that. But chances are you're not going to have that opportunity to do that. Your client's not going to be very happy with what you're going to be charging them. But in your Google Places account, you can build out those separate locations. You're probably also going to have one website, Giselle. So that way you could have that one Google Plus page going to that one website. You'd have your separate business locations. I think we even have we had a post on that. Yeah, last week we had a post on how to manage multiple locations in Google Plus or Google Places. This is what I would concentrate on. This is the overlay. This is what's going to show up right now in Google. Make sure that's all done right, Giselle. We have the little screenshot right in here on how to do that. Now I hope I answered the question. Good job, Roy. Your training is always informative and educational. Thank you, Stephen. If you were adding a completely new listing at this point, would you start with a Google Places or Google Plus? Well, when you create a Google account, you first need to create a Google account. That's the beginning. And after you create your Google account, you need to create a Google Plus account. Now, the Google Plus account is going to be for the person who runs that business or is in charge of that business or has something to do with that business, okay? Case in point, we did this recently for a psychiatrist. So we created their Google account right off the bat. After you create the account for the Google account, you have to create a Google Plus account. So we created the account for the psychologist. After we did that, then we go to Google Places. We create the Google Places account, tie that in with Google Plus. Places pages, you create a separate page under the doctor's account for the Google Plus business page. All right. So you create that out. You link that all together. And then you're going to go out and create your Yelp pages. I do all this by hand, or our staff does this all by hand. We typically stay away from those automated services because they can get you a little in trouble. They have a tendency to drip stuff in. They might not get an opportunity to get everything right. So I know it's time consuming to do this by hand, but we have somebody on our staff that's their job. Go in and put that in all by hand. So yeah, start with your Google account, Google Places, Google Plus account for the person, Google Places, then the Google Plus page for the business. I hope I made sense of that. I get a little NyQuil, a little wheezy. I took your local SEO training to help me get the edge and get my client on the first page of maps. But then the merge take place that pushed them back and populated a lot of unclaimed listings with no reviews on page one. On any advice on pushing them back up? Will a lot more reviews help? Being more active on Google Plus help? He's not in an industry that people will follow. This is from Deborah. Deborah, when was the last time you poked that listing? I bet you if you start poking that listing, logging into it, you're going to see some movement because Google likes fresh content. So go in and start poking the listing. Start off doing it once a month. If they're fake reviews, the reviews ain't going to go help. What Google's looking for is reviews. Yelp. Google's becoming more Yelp-like, and I use a term that I call Yelpers. Yelpers are people that are trusted by Yelp that leave reviews on other businesses, a lot of businesses. So Google's looking for trusted reviews for people that left reviews before. So if, you're going to get these reviews from that might be fake that nobody ever, I whatever. Google's going to see that it's actually going to discount it. So I would start poking the listing, let Google know this is all fresh content, update it, put some new images on there, geotag the images. So we talked about it our SEO class, Deborah, put new images on there, and update the content. Give me 1 second, guys. Again, I got to just clear my nose. I'll be back with you in 1 second. Okay. All right. I feel a little better now. I got my sinuses cleared up. I apologize again with this cold. North Carolina. That's the area. Okay. That's from Mark. Pete, thanks, Roy. Hope to see you at the meetup. Those of you that live around the Phoenix area, we do have thank you for reminding me, Pete. We do have a free meetup in the Phoenix area. Those of you who are in the Phoenix area want to come out and see me. We're going to be talking about basic and intermediate SEO on Thursday. Giselle, I thank you. You said I did answer your question. There's one G Plus account for the manager. It's a change of address. Okay, cool. Does Google ever track that you're creating so many accounts? Yeah, Google. Yeah, Google. I'm sure Google has a super cookie. Just Jeanette, you want to explain Google's cookie? You still there, Jeanette?
Yeah, I'm still here. Um, well, they use not only the cookie, but they also have tracking in their Chrome browser. So when you go places and do things, it follows you around, and that's like how the ads appear. Especially if you're looking at AdSense, it's based on where you've been and what you've been searching. Um, so that's how it works. And the cookie's not an actual text cookie; it's actually a flash cookie. So you don't delete it when you clear out your cache. You actually have to go to the Macromedia settings through Adobe Macromedia and actually remove your flash cookies.
Yeah. So Google knows everything you're doing on. So hey, I my account, Google account shows that I'm involved in SEO training. Our agency up in Indiana that Dave manages, comes back to an actual address. So this is something that's expected. We're very, upfront. We're not going to try to, you can get these cookie cleaners. I can't think of them, but they're not going to erase that Google cookie. If you're going to try to trick Google, try to get a fresh computer. That's the only thing I can say that is registered to you at a different IP address. One website has a location on Google Maps. Okay. Thanks. Excellent webinar in Australia and came into the webinar late. Any chance for Cliff Notes? Alan Smith. Welcome, Alan, from Australia. We're going to have a replay of this entire webinar, Alan. Be online in the next couple days. Just come to our website, SEO Training. If you signed up for this webinar, I'll send you out an email about the replay of the webinar. Hey, guys, I know there's still a lot of questions that I did not answer, but we do need to move on. I'm about dying here with my eyes, and it's about 6 o'clock right now. This is supposed to be a 1-hour webinar. But before we close presentation, I want to announce, some kind of special things we got coming on. And before I do that, I just kind of want to review some of the testimonials we've gotten from our students. John Gelhard, this is all on my LinkedIn page. In fact, guys, if you like this webinar, maybe go over to my LinkedIn page. Type in Roy, R-O-Y, space R-E-Y-E-R, and you can leave me a little testimonial on my LinkedIn page. But these are some testimonials. You can look at them all on LinkedIn. This is from John. Roy's one of the top SEO guys in search engine optimization, free monthly seminars and webinars. SEO courses are valuable. I'd recommend Roy to any business owner that wants to be found on the internet. Claudia Buchanan, she came to us, one of our first SEO classes. She has a sewing website, and we helped her get her sewing website going. She's making some very nice money doing that, teaching people how to sew at Home Fashions University. She's taken our advanced SEO class, and here again, as you see her testimonial. Also, this is Gareth Dickinson. He's an SEO expert, and he's been involved in internet marketing for a long, long time. SEO training. One of my, I was basically one of his early mentors in this industry, and you can see really, neat review he wrote about me and our SEO training. So let's talk about some of the SEO training stuff we got coming up. We do have some intensive workshops coming up later this month. On January 25th, we do have actually these times are wrong. We have a PR in a jar workshop that starts off at 9 o'clock in the morning. That goes on until noon. That's going to be with, gosh, I forgot her name. Oh, I hate that. But anyway, we have a we're going to have a class about public relations, how to type in Amanda Vega. Amanda Vega is going to be here to teach you how to write out press releases, how to do some things offline to help your website. And then we're going to follow up with that, a reputation management intensive workshop. That's going to be a 4-hour intensive. Now, if you could take both workshops for $225, we give you, you'll have lunch out here. You get to mingle with the crew. Meet all of us and see how our offices are. During breaks, you can ask us any kind of question you want. We'll try to help you. So anyway, if you want to take both of those classes, it's $225. Now here's the special, dude. The following day, we have a intensive Facebook marketing workshop. We have Bruce Safran coming out here. Now, if you sign up for those 2 workshops the day before and you want to take this workshop also, you can attend it for free, okay? But you need to sign up within the next 24 hours. So if you sign up for the PR in a jar and the reputation management workshop on Saturday, you'll get a free ticket for the intensive Facebook marketing workshop held the following day. But you need to register within the next 24 hours. If you have any questions about this, just email me direct. My email is roy@seotrainingsw.com. You're not going to get the free ticket online. I'll just know that you attended this workshop, or send me an email. You were on this call, and I'll give you that free ticket. Those of you that want to come out for our more advanced classes, on March 8th and 9th, we have our 2-day SEO Essentials workshop. On 16th, we have our 1-day local search workshop. And then on the 22nd through 24th, we have our 3-day advanced workshop. There's a special offer to those of you that are on this presentation live. This is, if you're listening to this recorded, sorry, you don't get the discount. Those of you that are on this call live, you do get a 35% discount for the next 48 hours. Just go to our website, SEO Training, use the discount code FIXMAPS. Register for any of these workshops or all of them. You get 35% off. Giselle, before we close off, you have any closing comments for our group tonight? I guess not. All right, guys, I really appreciate you coming out. Again, we'll have a replay available on our website within the next 48 hours. Any comments, questions that I did not answer, please go to our website and type them in, and I'll answer them right there on the site. Thank you, everybody, for taking part in tonight's webinar. Hope you learned something. This is Roy Ryer from SEO Training, SW.com. Have a great day. Bye-bye.